welcome to the stream, friends. My cat is invading my stream, so you're gonna have to bear with me while I try to get rid of him. But welcome to my drawing channel finally for once. Getting it up and ready, I'm pretty excited. So what you're gonna see on this is me doing lots of drawing, lots of fun stuff, and I'm mostly drawing comics, but I also have a lot of gallery work I'm gonna be doing. So you'll be seeing my gallery pieces as well. So with that in mind, all right, welcome to the channel, friends. We're going to be doing some drawing tonight. Well, I'll be doing all the drawing tonight. And, I've got my cat here who's decided to drop in with us as well. His name is Cacciatore. He's a good boy, but he's definitely in the way, as you can see. So I'll be getting rid of him kindly in just a few moments. So, what is this channel going to be all about? Well, it's about me drawing comics mainly, and me doing some fan art here and there, but mostly that's comics and gallery pieces as well. So I'll be doing some gallery work for Gallery 1988 out in Los Angeles. So you can check me out there, and we'll get to talking about Cryp-Ted. First things first, let's get this cat out of the way. I know. Come on. Badoom, cat. So, this is the page I'm going to be drawing, but I want to show off the cover for Cryp-Ted here. So I have a lot of pages going on there. So this is the cover for Cryp-Ted, and it is about the story of the Lonely Moth man. And it's going to be a 52 page, comic book. I'm going to do a crowdfunder here in the next couple of months for it, trying to get it all done. Right now, I'm working on page 34 and out of 52. So that means I have about 18 pages left to draw, which is pretty exciting when you think about it. It's going to be done pretty quickly. Then I got to figure out the color palette for all these wonderful pages here that I've got going. So the last one I inked and did was page 33, which is more of an aspect to aspect page. Definitely just showing the world where we're going to be as far as how this world lives, how it works, and kind of like in the original Ghost in the Shell movie, what you're going to see is that what am I going to say here? Bear with me. That this environment is a character as well. That's what I'm trying to get at here. So let's start inking. So what you can see here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, is I've got my iPad here, and I'm using an iPad Pro 12.9 inch. I'm drawing in Procreate and using Apple Pencil. So this is a by-panel page, and so we're setting first things first, we're setting our environment here. We're setting up our establishing shot, just so you know where it is. And the second one is the big reveal of our character doing some gardening. Very mundane. I just did a packet of seeds as the next panel, and then him looking at himself in his little spade, and then someone saying his name. This one is done in 3-point perspective, so you can kind of see the grid lines as they come out and come down here. I'm going to change my color over to black and jump into. I use a dry ink brush when I'm doing the inking part of this. So I've already started inking a good part of this here, and I'll show you what it looks like so far with just the inks. So there's just this panel that we're rocking and rolling with, and I haven't put much detail or texture into it quite yet. So let's get to work. How about that? But I really need to always make sure you're on the right layer. So I layer this, and I'm going to rename it line art. There we go, line art. I love the scribble feature on iPad. Makes things so much easier. Let's get to the drawing. So I did the sun in a little bit of a sweltering heat kind of vibe because it's going to be summer, and so this takes place in the south, um, like in the kind of like in the in a I can't remember what the Arkansas mountains are, but we're kind of near there. And sometimes I follow the pencil, sometimes I don't. I kind of improve as we go. And then I try to figure out what I'm going to do next. And I jump all around, but my main mission tonight in this drawing session is to do this panel. I want to get this page done by the end of the day tomorrow. And I move my canvas all around. So if anyone tells you not to do that, just give them a nice ignore because it's totally cool. And I don't know if I have the right perspective on that one. There we go. We're moving and shaking. And putting some little sprouts down here. I like using I love using this brush because it like gives me evidence of hand. It looks like a brush that I would use when I'm actually doing this in real life on paper, not on iPad, which I really haven't done much of in the last couple of years. To be straight up with y'all, I'm like, um, I'm actually entirely now a digital creator. I do not mind drawing on glass, is what I'm getting at here. I'm going to put a little middle ground over here. Kind of just give the implication that there's unmowed grass. Giving it some little texture. I love doing texture with stippling. That's really one thing that really rock and rolls for me is for texture, is giving it like a nice stipple, which is just little dots. Procreate will allow you to do a nice even line, but it helps to if you are good at it yourself as well. Use that for many years of like brush work. I used to like do a brush just like this when I would do my comics back in the day, and yeah, it was cool. So I kind of want to get back to some of that here in the next couple of years. Could do a look, do some comics that are traditional, so to speak. I've got a little unevenness I want to clean up over here. I don't think anyone had Mothman gardening on their bingo card here, but that's what this book is kind of all about: is the loneliness and seclusion of Mothman. Because never been talk of a mate for Mothman. And I just imagine when I was coming up with this story, like, man, like I know isolation and how that works. I'm a pretty solitary person as it is as an artist. So, with that in mind, I was like, man, what if we took my experience in solitude and started making it a comic with the Mothman? I love cryptids. It's a character that is in the public domain, so to speak, that I wouldn't have to entirely make up. But I made him my own, honestly. I made him into something that like I feel like is relatable, especially in our post-pandemic world, and something to where like he's on a quest, but he has a best friend, but for reasons I won't spoil for the book, he has to stay on this farm, which is old army bunkers. Nothing exciting at all. All right, let's keep going. So I've got trees in the background. I want to give this and bring my size down over here. And you've got your size. Got your size with over on the left hand side. I'll give you a quick tour of Procreate. Your size is on the left hand side for your brush. That way I can get like even tinier details. The trick with doing digital artwork is that you can get trapped, like kind of like Ant-Man and Quantum Mania. You can get trapped in the small details, in the pixelation of it. So I always kind of zoom out and be like, does that work? Is that something that works for me? And it is. So I'm going to keep going. So you might see me like tapping with 2 fingers or 3 fingers on here, and that what that means is I'm with 2 fingers I'm undoing the last move. With 3 fingers I'm redoing the last move. Sometimes this thing is can be a little sensitive, but I don't usually draw with a glove. I know a few people that do. It's not my bag. I'll just accept the mistakes. And honestly, I think that's what makes I've gotten compliments that my digital art looks a lot like traditional art and kind of like tricks people. And I take a little bit of pride in that because, like I said, this is all drawn on glass, and there's no pages um, in my closet or in my portfolio for it. It's all on my website, and the only time it's going to be in hands is when it goes to print, as it's been crowdfunded. And we'll talk about that too, because I do want to get this funded. But there we are. So we have our foreground basically done. I'm going to add some more grass down here. I didn't make it as thick as those other ones, so I might go back over it. This is the equivalent of getting more ink on your brush right here. So I'm going to jump to next. I'm going to see what it looks like without the ink on there. And it's looking pretty good. I'm really happy with this page, to be like straight up with y'all. Probably one of the better pages I've done. And here's one of those accidents. I'm going to actually get rid of that. Because sometimes I can guarantee you it's from my cat. And you can hold it down to make a nice straight line. Hold it down there. Peel it back a little bit here. Right here. As a cartoonist, I kind of tend to draw pretty fast and go through this pretty fast. You'll also see me double tapping my pencil with 1 finger, and that switches from the brush to the eraser. So I'm filling in these sides. I can also, like, if I make my lines strong enough, this is a brush that naturally leaves spaces, but if I make it strong enough, let's see if it happens. I did it right. We can drag and drop, and hey, it's success. So you really have to make sure that is sealed up. It's kind of like if you don't seal a kid's diaper, they're going to go all over the place. And that's the same thing here. Like if I dropped this right here, it would go over the whole page. Take two fingers, undo it. We're back in the saddle here. So let's get that inner side done. And shaking and moving. And again, giving it depth, giving it texture. Like some people just draw very flat windows. I'm not a fan. I want to have like those inner workings of a window, which is a weird thing to focus on. Don't get me wrong. Um, yep, there you go. Didn't make my line strong enough. But it's the tiny details I really feel like that make my work come to life. And I like that it leaves like little empty spaces there. It's a nice textured brush, and it's one that comes with Procreate. I've downloaded like hundreds of brushes trying to find the perfect one to replace my Winsor Newton Series 7 sable brush that I would use when I was doing traditional work. But nothing comes close like this. This feels like I'm kind of running out of ink. At the same time, it feels like um, a very wonderfully textured brush that I really, really dig using. Let's keep going. We're doing buildings. Let's go hardcore with that brush. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make these lines nice and bold and thick so that it separates the background from this wee little shack. So it's a nice and thick line. Oops. There we are. That way I can come in up here and draw lightly. Cryp-Ted does a great job with pressure sensitivity. Let's see what it's looking like. Yeah, see, there we go. So they're thin enough lines to make it nimble. The sun is up there. I might make those lines thinner as well too, because now it looks like the sun is just hanging over. It looks like when the Unicron is coming towards that first planet, and they forgot to like leave the rings in the background. Um, that's some obscure Transformers knowledge right there for you. And there's other ways to make this look like it's in the background. I can use a couple different eraser textures, but I really wanted to put in the work and kind of take a look at it here. That's better. I dig it. We'll do some more texture work with it later. Let's go back up to Big Boy Land. And we're moving up. These old tile houses, man. So I researched what like army barracks looked like um, from back in the day, like in the 40s and 50s. And yeah, they were not, they were little bungalows. Um, and I want to make these have the impression that they're not well kept, that they've been kind of gross for a while. So we got some ooh, whoops, Too big. I'm gonna put some cracks, just as something to make it look like it's been lived in, but not so much to where, like, if you open the page, you can't see it. So get going back through here. Some more leaks. So I'm not connecting these right over here to that because I kind of want that window to stand out. Like, not all your lines really have to connect. You know what I mean? This gives like the impression that there's siding, and a lot of times, like, people mistake impression for, for laziness, but it could be further from the truth. Something implied is always worth checking out. All right. Nice. So, where should I concentrate on next? I'm going to add detail to this a little later. I'm avoiding the trees like crazy because, like, that's where I'm going to get stuck in with the most detail as I walk through this. That's okay. You got to take out the elephant in the room sometimes. So I'm gonna go just a little bit higher with my brush size. And one of the things is, like, I think it's really hard to draw and make accurate looking trees. And I'm like, you know what? I don't like making accurate looking trees. I'm just gonna make them my own kind of looking trees. Because drawing a tree is a little insane. And here's my cat again. Sir, you're in the way. You are covering up the whole thing. Down you go. If you ever want to see someone who can draw great trees, you can check out Zach Howard's artwork. That guy loves drawing him some trees. I like drawing the tree trunks more than I like the what you call it. I love drawing the tree trunks. Like I said, those give me like super fun vibes. So let's start with some of those tree trunks. There we are. So what I'll do is, like, I'll fill in these, like, this negative space, these dark spots, and that shows how many trees are underneath there. Make some space. See if I did this right. I could fill it in right quick. Boom. So then what I do, I start putting some contour lines. So I'm gonna do it like that, and it kind of looks like the trees out here in Colorado. So, but I also just kind of messed up the perspective with them. So nothing like a couple of vertical lines to kind of give it like that nice hatched up look. I'm also going to do a little more shading down over and a little more scratching over down over here to give it the illusion that there is some more space. I also like to go over these with a little like noise brush eraser to kind of give them like some atmospheric perspective. An atmospheric perspective is just like when you look at something like a mountain and it fades into the background. It's fading into like the the blue atmosphere. There we go. Cat had my tongue for a moment there. Ew. These are starting to form up and look like trees. And I got some. I'm gonna make up some more back over through here. If you're hearing noise, that's my cat making noise. He's destroying a box of action figures that I got in. He loves to destroy the plastic on those. So let's give it a look, shall we? All right. She's looking good. I actually like how those trees came out. So like I said, I got to put another quick set of them right on over here. Welcome to the party, Mr. Shiny Plastic People. I am so appreciative of your support. Making comics is fun, but making comics with other people can be a lot more fun. And here he comes again. So what I'm going to do is give this some... Bro. This is originally why I didn't want to go live streaming, because I have to put my cat down every, 10 minutes, but I really want to get this out there into the universe, and I really want to finish this book. He does the same thing during my therapy sessions, if you're curious. He gets right up in front. And for someone who doesn't really love drawing trees, I sure picked a tree-heavy book for this. Because I've also done... Man, I did trees down out over through here. Some more down over here. Where's that big old tree page? Did a bunch right over through here. Yeah. Like I said, for someone who doesn't want to do it, I sure do it a lot. And there's another shot with another bunch of trees. But let's get back to page 34. So what I also have to do is I have to make these lines quite a bit thicker right over here to show the space between the two trees. For me, making comics is a constant battle of space, balance of black and white, and balance of foreground, middle ground, and background. I try to treat my backgrounds more as like an environment rather than saying it's a background, and that's really how I've come to enjoy doing backgrounds. Like it's kind of like when you find your zen of doing the dishes somehow. You're like, oh, I put a podcast on. This is cool. I'm doing my dishes again, and I'm doing, like I said, this is a full environment, so I make the background the character. I'm also really thirsty today. Living in Colorado will dry you out. I also woke up with a sore throat, so I hope I'm not coming down with anything. Getting my next COVID booster tomorrow. Exciting. I know. I always feel like when I draw trees, they come out looking like bushes. It drives me nuts, but there's no other, there's no real way to fix it other than like doing more life drawing until I'm happy with it. But I decided to interpret them the way I wanted to, see them how it is. All right, all right. Let's get this going with this next tree. That's why I kind of call myself a cartoonist rather than a comic book artist. Um, is I do take quite a few more chances, and I also write. So if you didn't know, cartoonists both do writing and drawing. But I also don't want to do. I like implied. I like things to be implied. There is like weight to this, and I'm only going to draw a few of these. So you should give this tree some more weight when you do this. I'd also do this with bricks, honestly. And I really like drawing bricks as well too. You find your zen with like background objects, and you're like, man, this is cool. I can make some nice chunky bricks. So I'm gonna start filling this back slot in. Again, making sure my lines are nice and thick. What I'm trying to do is make sure all my leaves are connected and make sure everything is ready to go for a color fill. And there was not. Yes. And sometimes I like to fill the blacks in even more. And I'll fill in small tiny parts so I can make sure that I'm not losing any details. I tend to also draw any kind of hair or fur like Miyazaki does. Just little pointies. Here we go. If you heard a crash, that's my cats misbehaving. Both of them. I have two of them. And I'm not going to do anything about it because we're drawing, baby. We got other things to do. Like I might redo this because it looks so like square. So I'm gonna jump in and go a lot higher with it. it's like just every once in a while you just like, man, I hate this. You start making these little adjustments to because this one over here, I really feel like looks like a pretty great tree. This one here is driving me nuts. This one over here, pretty good tree. Awesome. So if you're just joining me, I'm drawing some trees, getting my Bob Ross on. Happy trees with little leafy brown sprouts. So that's looking better. And I might go in. Yeah, I think it's looking better. Cool. I'm happy with that. So putting some more small ones in the background just to kind of give it a little bit more of a 3D feel so it's not so flat. One thing you really want to watch out, especially with drawing kind of like this, is that you don't want to draw a butt. So you got to make sure that they're not touching like two Pringles. And there we go. Let's come back and look at it without the blue pencil. There we go. So my black and white balance is starting to come together with this. And what I mean by a black and white balance, I usually do like 60% black, 40% white. But on this page, since it's in the day, I'm doing the opposite. But I still want to have some darkness in these shadows in these trees in the background. You can see down here in my tree trunks. It's a little forest right behind his garden here. Do some more up here. This is also like kind of how like Captain America's chainmail is drawn. When I used to do more fan art, when I draw Captain America, I was like, oh, look at all like the little scales, and you're like, oh God, drawing that, all of it. It's much better to just imply that it's there rather than drawing every last piece of chainmail, every last leaf, as it were. Let's get back over yonder here. Be a little bit more loose with these. So I'm going to be filling the tree trunks in down over here. Now there's two options. I can either fill it in with my brush and do the work, or I can fill it in with the paint drop. Which works out pretty well. Work smart. I didn't put any branches on these because I really wanted the trees in the south, they kind of hang down a lot more. I did a piece for the show Ozark, and I had to draw the like a lot. I couldn't draw the cast. I had to draw the Ozark Mountains, and I made the trees like they're like these low hanging. They're not quite Spanish moss, but they are low hanging trees. And so I didn't want to show a whole lot of branches because I wanted that vibe to come back through for Cryp-Ted here. Oop. Here we go. Dropping it in. Bruh. So again, if you don't fill it in, or if you don't seal it off, it will fill in the whole damn page. Going back and forth. This one's going to be tough because it comes up right against some bushes. But we've made it work. Very wonderful. All right. Let's get the rest of this stuff filled in. So again, I'm making thick lines so I can do the smart thing and just use a color fill. A little color drop. Oops, missed a spot. All right, let's see how it works. Still missing spots. Let's go around the bottom side here. It becomes filling is great when it wants to work. When you're using a brush like a dry brush, like I am, you're kind of putting yourself. Zoom back out. We got some nice black spots here. That's how that works. There we go. And I could give a little delineation there. I'm going to use an eraser here in a few to like make some leaves there to kind of delineate between the two trees, as it were. Ooh, we're coming up on time in a few minutes. I've just been rambling and drawing away. If you're liking what you're seeing, you know the drill. Smash the like, give it a share, tell all your friends. This nerd is drawing comics for free. And if anyone loves process videos, and I love watching people draw, honestly. I get people who kind of look over my back all the time and they're like, man, I just love watching. Like, it's so relaxing to watch someone draw. And I'm like, yeah, I'm down with that. It's kind of nice to watch people paint, I think. I don't think it's gonna, yep. Now you can bring it in and hold down the threshold, but it never wants to work for me. Just gotta find my empty spots and fill her up. There we go. So you see what I mean with like giving just the faintest hint that there's little leaves over through here. I'm almost not satisfied until I like find the right balance, and I think I just did find that right balance. Looks like I'm just drawing sad faces, and then down here like little happy, cute faces. Oop, I drew a butt. So what I'm probably gonna do is, like I said, come over here with an eraser, and I'll do the eraser as the same brush, which is extremely convenient. I'm gonna move it like that. And that delineation works, I think. Usually I like to have black meat black and not have those outlines, but there's sometimes like I always go back to like the Kirby style of drawing Black Panther. It was like if it's all black, you're gonna miss some definition. So you have to have some line work in there to make that definition. Nice. Yeah, I think this page is really starting to show its legs. You know, once you start filling in your blacks and spotting your blacks, you kind of start to see like where you could use some more. I kind of feeling like I want some more. Like this is a little over. Like this over here doesn't have any balance to it, so I might put some more blacks back over here just to give it some more depth and some more space. Um, yeah, I think that'll look cool. And I wanted him to have like these beautiful moth wings, and I really like drawing them. I found a pattern that I liked online, and kind of went with it, but also went over it to make it my own. And so what I just did there was I made sure like I was drawing in the right perspective because my vanishing point is over this way. And so everything up until down over here, where it's just my horizon line, should be going like up and out. Actually, my horizon's right there. Do some more trees, baby. Yeah. Yes, baby. Little dusty roads for you. There we go. And I think I might look. It's kind of a bummer because I really like this plant, but I really feel like having like these like having some more depth to them. The siding, and they're more like wood. Yeah, that's starting to look. Yeah, it ties it together. Ties that whole panel right together there. What up, Quip? Thanks, man. I'm drawing a Mothman comic, and I'm trying to balance my black to white ratio as at the same time. I typically plan it out when I draw a comic, but this time I sure as shit didn't. Like I want the blacks to be an eventual fade in over here. All right. Man, yeah, that's what it needed. Shoot. So what I was talking about earlier was like I have all this black on this side of the page, but nothing on this side of the page, so it felt like imbalanced. So when I added more over here, it's like, yeah, this feels great. It makes these stand out from that middle ground, and that background will be even lighter. I would have just filled that one in, but it would have looked awful, ugly. I can subtract and do a subtractive method for those little plants down here. To get this texture, I'm going very light with my brush. Very light. So let's see what our page is looking on so far. It's a nicely balanced page. All I have to do is fill this in and give some more detail over here, and I think I'm pretty well done with this panel. It's coming out looking pretty good. So just about at the hour mark. I just started late, so I'm going to go over that hour mark and keep going for just a few more minutes. Give these lines some more weight. Giving lines weight just means making them thicker. And I'm kind of giving like that wooden texture as well too, with these light strokes. So I don't want them to look like Sears siding. I want it to look like, oh, this is made from wood. And give a little bit more of that texture coming down here. Put some goo on the window as well here too. Oh, what is that? These are supposed to be a little bit dilapidated. Just like a nice stain that just will not go away no matter what you did to clean it. So, all right, I have a finished panel. I'm pretty happy with this. Oh, I haven't finished that yet. Never mind. But for tonight, I have a finished panel. And it looks great. It feels good. And I'm really excited to do the rest of these. So I have three more panels down at the bottom and one more up at the very top to get through and jump in with. So I got to figure out how to make these trees look good in the back there without kind of messing with the cables that I have up there. So that'll be my next feat of strength, so to speak. And then I can come back out. Like I was saying, I only have 18 more pages to draw of Cryp-Ted. And again, here's the cover. Cover and the interior cover, all done. Put a ghost in there. That's pretty cool. And this is how you make comics, kids. One painstaking panel at the time. And like I said, it didn't take me all night to do this. It took me about an hour. So like a couple more hours and I'll be able to do this. I'll probably be drawing through YHS um, and chatting with them on their live stream, which starts in half an hour after this. But yeah, this is my first stream. Like, thank you all so much for supporting me. Like, this has been awesome. I've had a great time. And yeah, I'm going to say, bid you adieu. And hopefully, someone got that joke.